All right, let's get into a spirit of prayer. So, give you thanks for this day. Thank you for your mercy, your kindness. We thank you for allowing this fellowship to come together. We ask that you truly give us insight, that you reveal a will to us that will allow us to unite, to heal, to return to our source. We ask that the school that you have blessed us with to sustain and nourish our bodies so we may continue our service to you, for our community, fullness of heart, soul, and spirit. Hallelujah. Amen. Well, I would like to first ask permission for my grandfather to speak. May I speak, please, grandfather? May I speak?
No, you can speak.
Greetings, peace, love, blessings, power to you all. I am truly humbled not to be here today. I'd like to definitely thank you today for allowing me this opportunity to share some things with you all. Definitely the Boys Learning Center, Dr. Millard, and you all as well, and also to the Most High. I definitely have to recognize our Creator, and all the things that we do, that fire, that energy, that animation that gives us life. I want to start with an affirmation. You all would follow the African tradition of correspondence. This is an affirmation that I thought would really be suitable for today's topic. And I want to read this topic first. Reclaiming sacred space through the restoration of Black excellence within the African diaspora. A Sankofa return back to culture, character, and consciousness for our fathers, sons, and families. Let that resonate. Let that resonate. So please repeat after me. I was born.
I was born
For a purpose.
for a purpose.
To reflect light.
To reflect light.
To achieve self-mastery and dominion.
To achieve self-mastery and dominion.
To be fruitful and multiply.
To be fruitful and multiply.
To love the Most High.
To love the Most High.
With all my heart.
With all my heart.
All my soul.
All my soul.
All my strength.
All my strength.
And to love my neighbor.
And to love my neighbor
As myself.
as myself.
I was born for a purpose.
I was
To
born for a
reflect the
purpose.
light. To achieve self-mastery and dominion. To be fruitful and multiply. And to love the Most High with all my heart, all my soul, all my strength, and to love my neighbor as myself. Today, what I want to give you all are 4 jewels. 4 jewels. I want to share with you all the jewel of purpose. I want to share with you all the jewel of fatherhood. I want to share with you all the jewel of Sankofa, or in my tradition we call Teshuvah. In the Hebrew we say Teshuvah. And also time. Time. Purpose, fatherhood, Sankofa, Teshuvah, and time. And the affirmation yields all of that together. So purpose is something which we either are in pursuit of or something that we do with intention. Purpose is something that either we are in pursuit of or that which we fulfill based on our desire with intention. And knowing that our community, in time past, when we look at our history as African people, understood our purpose. We understood our roles within that purpose. We understood the collective consciousness that went into our excellence. Our excellence. And purpose is what allows for us to achieve that excellence. It gives us form. It gives us figure. It gives us shape. It gives us identity. It gives us purpose. And knowing this is what we must interject back into our community, starting with ourselves. men, who are fathers, as women, who are mothers and daughters, and we are sons and brothers, and you are sisters, and aunts and uncles, right? We have many roles that we play. We're business people, right? We're professionals. We have so many roles that we play, but we must play all those roles, of course, with purpose. And I can say in my life, transparency, right? As a father, I've been challenged. I have 4 boys now. 3 I have sired myself. And in siring those boys, they have 3 mothers that come with them. And in doing so, there was a time when my purpose was not clear in my direction. Right? So 2 of them were in wedlock, I will say that. I wasn't just like at completely angry. But I did have, some order in my life, but it wasn't clear in how I went about that. And now that they are here, my purpose as their father is to make sure that they're getting that presence in their life. My father was not present in my life. We talked about some things this morning. That was my biggest trauma. In the night, I remember separating from my father. And the reverberation of trauma that caused and impacted, not really even being conscious and mindful of it at times, right? But it impacted me in ways. And these are the things that we have to deal with to get back to that purpose, which leads me next to Teshuvah, to Sankofa, to returning to that path that we were intended to embark on. And as men, we know, as fathers and men, we know that we have a very powerful role. The Hebrew word for father is Abba, or Ab. When you put those letters together, you have the letter Aleph, which is the first letter of the alphabet. It means the power, the hidden infinite source of power. The second letter in the Hebrew alphabet is the letter Bet, which gives us the word for house. Okay? Put those words, those letters together, you have the power of the house. The father, by design and purpose, is intended to be the power source of the house. So when you remove that power source from the house, well, we see the results. Our community is suffering from that. And that is by design. That is not our original pattern. That was not how our ancestors went about structuring our society and our family structure particularly. That was calculated, diabolical. And of course, that trauma reverberates again, even genetically. Trauma has been shown to have genetic residue to be passed on to next generations. And so these are things that we have to restore and return and become first aware of, right? So the process of Teshuvah in Hebrew lets us know that first we have to acknowledge the fault, acknowledge the issue. What is the issue? Right? Then we have to confess like I was off. I missed the mark. I did not step appropriately in that situation. Right? Then you go and you seek forgiveness. I beg your pardon. I was wrong. In my acknowledgement of missing the mark, I acknowledge that. I beg your pardon. Then you go and you seek to make restoration. This is what repentance, we use the word in English, repentance. This is what repentance is about. You restore that which you have offended. You bring it back to wholeness. Right? And then you intend to never make that mistake again. By filling it with positive behavior, with positive thought, with positive speech. And this is all African and root. And this is how you restore wholeness. And that is how you get to the Teshuvah aspect. And lastly is time. Sacred space is determined by the occupants in that space. And the use of the space by the occupants in the time that it is occupied will allow for that time to become sacred. In our tradition, we have 72 days that are set apart. 72 out of 365 days out of the year that are determined to connect with Source. To stop what you're doing, because we can at times ruin the image and the style that we may be using. You might know that song? Okay, that's not mine. So, I'm a hip hop kid, so y'all gotta forgive me. The hump dances jumped in my head. But anyway, no, seriously, like time, when we sanctify time, when we make time sacred, when we take the time to dedicate our thought, words, and actions into whatever we're pouring ourselves into, that is what makes that moment sacred. That is what makes that place and space sacred. And this is what we have to do to get back into a place where we are able to function with excellence, even with perfection. When we realize the image and likeness in which we were created, this goes in all traditions. When we understand how we were formed, how we were shaped, how we were created, the attributes, the nature, the character, the intelligence, right? When we understand all these elements compose this human body that is the house of our soul, then we can truly understand how to function in harmony, first and foremost with ourselves, and then with one another. That is where everything comes into oneness. When we are able to master this particular design right here, right, to achieve self-mastery and dominion, that doesn't come, dominion does not come without self-mastery. You have to first master this particular technology that we have. This wonderfully designed, carefully designed piece of technology that we have. Right? And that's where we take time to meditate. That's where we take time to study. That's where we take time to pray. That's where we take time to align our spirit, our soul, and our body in projection of excellence. And we have to be aware of it. We have to have an awareness of that. And to capture that, to embrace that. And then most importantly, to instill that into our families. And understand how the order of family was designed in order to preserve life. The preservation of life. Right? That's the first rule of life. Self-preservation. And these are things that we can do to also protect our family from, we know, in our African tradition, the Yoruba virus, the virus of our colonial oppressors, that is intentionally and purposefully set out to destroy everything about us. Everything. And so what insulates us, what gives us that resistance to that approach and that encroach is our culture. Our culture. And the beautiful thing about Africa is there are many cultures of Africa. The key is for us to identify with who we are, to reconnect with that particular aspect of who we are. I found my identity, and I know it's an African expression. And we have to reclaim that. That's the Sankofa Teshuvah process of returning to that which we have lost in order to move forward, right, and achieve the greatness that we've been called to do, because our civilizations historically are unprecedented. There's no civilization today, even in the United States of America, that can truly compare to the greatness of the civilization that our ancestors had designed. Time and time and time and time and time again. Way before anything that we can think of in the contemporary. Before the Renaissance age, before Enlightenment, before any of that stuff. Right? And it doesn't, like, shame Europe. We're not saying this to the shame of Europe. We're saying this to the recollection of our memory so that we can become who we once were. And that is what we have to do. And that is what I wanted to share with you all today in light of this powerful topic of reclaiming sacred space through the restoration of Black excellence within the African diaspora, the same cultural return back to culture, character, and consciousness for our fathers, Thank you all for your time.